Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And this movie came out in 2003, and it's directed by Peter Jackson, and it's the end of the trilogy. And this movie won every Oscar that it was nominated for, including Best Picture. I really loved this one. I thought it was a great third installment, and I liked it better than Two Towers. Not quite as much as Fellowship of the Ring. It's in between those two for me, but there's a lot that I love about it, and in terms of things that this movie introduces for the first time that you get that's new, there's a lot to like. I like the action sequences with the Nazgul on the dragon things, and I criticized Two Towers a little bit for them being on these dragon things and not horses, because I just find that a little bit scarier. But in this context, it works better because they're actually in action sequences, not just trying to catch Frodo with a ring. And it's a bit more exciting for me. And there's really great action in this movie, and it goes on for a long time. And this movie like flies by, and the action in this movie takes up like 60% of the movie, or at least it feels like it. And it's just non-stop, and it just knows exactly what it needs to be, and it just achieves it. And the characters are great, and the story is interesting, and everything that everyone is going through is interesting, and the special effects, they look pretty good for the time. There's some things that look better than the others. And there were some ghost characters in this movie, and I liked the design for them a lot. I think they look really cool, and the first scene that they're introduced, it's a bit like a horror movie almost, and I thought that was a cool idea to like introduce these like kind of scary characters, and it was a lot of fun when they first came on screen. And like the previous two movies, I think the music is really great, and there's some new themes in this movie that I think are really well done, and I like the locations that this movie introduces for the first time, and I like the character of Faramir in this movie much better than I did in Two Towers. In Two Towers, I didn't really care for him all that much, and in this movie, he's a lot more interesting because you meet his father, and he really just does not care one bit about him, and he really only cares about Boromir, and he's just treated like crap the whole time, and it was much more interesting to see him go through all of that, and really just like he's going into battle to die basically, and his father doesn't even care. And in the previous two movies, they were setting up a lot of things, and in this movie, everything is paid off, and it's always very satisfying when things are paid off, and it's like, yes, finally, I've waited two movies, and the payoff is worth it, and this movie ends really strong, and some people have criticized this movie for it having like 10 different endings, and personally, I don't feel that way about this movie. I think everything wrapped up very well, but I understand the criticism, and I wouldn't argue anyone who feels that way. And in the second movie, I didn't mention it because I didn't want to spoil anything, but I think it's okay to say it for this movie. And a bit of spoilers for Two Towers. Gandalf comes back, and instead of Gandalf the Grey, it's Gandalf the White, and in that movie, I felt as though he was a bit too serious, and I still like the character, but when he was Gandalf the Grey, he had a bit more charisma to him, and in Two Towers, he was a bit more serious, still likable, but kind of serious and not as fun to watch. But this movie, I think, really mixes those elements together for his character, and I think that's really what makes the character work for me in this movie. And it's a mix of both, playful and serious, and it just works very well for me. In this movie, they brought back the death kill count contest between Legolas and Gimli, and I find that pretty funny. The comedy, when it comes in play into the movie, it's always very funny in these movies, and it never feels out of place, and no character is ever annoying to me. Everything just works in this movie for the most part, and the only issues I have with it are just little nitpicky things and like one little plot hole that is just, I can't even mention because I don't want to spoil anything, but most of it is like really, really fantastic, and I don't really have many complaints with it, and there isn't really much that I can say to like say negatively about it. It's just a movie where you watch it, it's entertaining throughout, and it just works, and there isn't really anything to criticize apart from maybe some special effects that are a bit dated, but aside from that, which I can overlook, is basically perfect and epic. And that's about all I have to say about Return of the King. It's excellent. I love it. And it's my second favorite in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And it's probably as good as a third installment can be. And there isn't really much else that you can ask for from a movie like this. And it's just very satisfying. And for the record, I've never seen the extended editions for these movies. I've only ever seen the theatrical cuts. And I would like to see those extended editions one day, but these are my thoughts on the theatrical cuts, and I don't know if I'll ever review the extended editions, but I don't think I really need to, because the theatrical cuts are good enough for me, and I don't think they're gonna make me change my opinions too much on these movies. And that's about all I have to say about everything with Lord of the Rings. And with all that being said, I'm going to give The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, a 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of Return of the King. And my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Under Siege 2, Dark Territory. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.